Quick Picks presented by Burrows Talking Soccer. My name is Dave Knittel. Here's my brother Christian to discuss MLS Match Week 22. Christian, hello. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Dave. You're here now. So,
yeah, I know.
We're
right
in here in person.
It's just so much
the
fun.
Immediate banter
Yes.
of like just having someone right next to you and not waiting that like half-second delay when you talk to somebody over the internet. The internet's just a crazy place, Dave. So
It is a crazy place. I love that we have our cord in the background. This is just, I didn't bring too many nice clothes. I'm rocking my German setup here, comfortable of the coaches.
Dave's really repping a lot of failure today with his clothing.
I don't have signs
and no signs.
I don't have signs. I'm running on little sleep. I've done very little preparation here. I do have our KXG, Christian, our Knittel expected goals model updated, so don't worry about that.
I was so
but
concerned.
I don't have predictions written already, so we're going to see how this one goes. Are you excited?
Oh, I'm so excited.
All right, people. Well, thank you for joining us here. Real quick, this is the Quick Kick Picks, and we do a Quick Kick Picks game where you can play along with us. So every match that we talk about here, you can leave your predictions. If you get the home team's score correct, that is a point for you. If you get the away team score correct, that is a point for you. If you get the result correct, win, loss, or draw, so or home team win, away team win, or draw, that is a point. And then if you get all three of those correct, Christian, what happens? You get a bonus 2 points. So 5 points are up for grabs in every single game that we're talking about.
That's a lot
here.
of points.
That is a lot of points. 60 points are up for grabs just this weekend alone. We do the competition throughout the month of August, right? We've done it for June and July. Would you like to tell people who won each of those months?
So funnily enough, I won
Yes,
in June, and then in July, I won again.
Yes.
So
yes.
it's pretty crazy that keeps happening.
Totally crazy. So, and the winner gets to come on our podcast for a 15-minute guest appearance.
Or if you finish second behind me.
Or if you finish second. So this month we have Drew Deal from our July second place finisher. So he will be on the podcast and you can get on. So make sure to leave your predictions either here on YouTube or preferably over on Twitter at BT Soccer Pod. Real quick, we have shirts for sale for the next few days. So August 5th, they stopped being sold. Yeah, they're Bros Talking Soccer t-shirts. They don't look exactly like this. Actually, they look more like this design on a t-shirt. $2 from every shirt sold goes to One Goal United, an awesome charity supporting soccer-related things in the inner cities and developing countries. So make sure to support us and support them by getting a t-shirt. It is available on our website, so go check that out. Last thing here, we record this live on YouTube, but I am getting it set up now because I was not prepared. Christian, do you want to explain what happens and why we have to restrict it to 2 minutes? Because I am not prepared.
I would love to. So the reason we have to restrict our videos to about 2 minutes is because Twitter has a cutoff time when we post the videos online. So that is the reason. And you're going to hear a little bit of a whistle. Maybe. I mean, sometimes you hear it and sometimes you don't because the app isn't the best. But, at least we have something. So it can be, it's nice that we have something to use, but it can be a little tricky out there. So if you hear a whistle, then that means we're about to move on. If you don't hear a whistle, we might be moving on anyway. So there you go.
All right. So with that, I think we're ready to jump into things. Again, I'm embarrassed. I don't have any signs to hold up. I wish I knew sign language. I was going to do that, but I don't. So we're just going to have to talk about the games. Christian, is that okay with you?
I think I can survive.
Any final words?
Let's do this.
Let's do it. All right. Kicking things off on Saturday, August 3rd, we have Atlanta United taking on the LA Galaxy at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what are you expecting to happen here?
So Atlanta last week was very impressive in Los Angeles. So, I mean, they played against the LAFC, correct?
Correct.
That was last week.
Yep, yeah. Friday.
So that was a high-flying game. It was 4-3 for LAFC, and I did expect LAFC to win that game, but Atlanta showed themselves in a good light. Yes, defensively, they've been very strong. I think comparatively, compared to their offense this season, Atlanta has been much stronger defensively, and that did not show in this game. It was kind of the opposite. Atlanta was scoring goals. I think that this continues this week at home. I think they'll be more defensive, and LAFC are a much stronger side than the Galaxy are, specifically in the attack. But I can only see Atlanta winning this game right now. I think the Galaxy are in a pretty hot run of form right now. They're playing pretty well. But just Atlanta have the talent right now to get it done, specifically at home. And I expect them to lock down that defense again. All
right, fair enough. I think Atlanta has something weird going on. Not Pity Martinez. I mean, you can read it from Pity Martinez, but Leandro Gonzalez Perez And Joseph Martinez came out in the press and said they basically don't get along with the manager right now. That generally isn't a situation that resolves itself. If you're hearing any noises upstairs, our parents are entertaining guests, so apologies for that. That situation generally isn't going to resolve itself without somebody leaving. And so I don't know if that's going to affect the team the rest of this season. So that's something to keep an eye on here. They've more or less...
right?
What? Frank De Boer.
Yeah.
Bielsa's at Leeds. But I don't know if that's going to factor in here. LA Galaxy has been doing better. I want to say they didn't have a great result last weekend, but I could have that wrong. Zlatan is going to be Zlatan. The whole Christian Pavone situation, I don't know if that's going to get resolved. I don't think it'll be resolved before this game. Ultimately, I have Atlanta getting a 3-1 win here. I've been very stumbling because I did not prepare. So I have Atlanta getting a 3-1 win here. Our Knittel expected goals, homemade expected goals model has this one 1.54 to 1.22 in favor of Atlanta United. So 3-1 for me. Did you give a prediction?
I didn't. 2-0.
All right. Can you set up the next one while I fix this?
I would love to. So the next game that we have this week is going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we got the New York Red Bulls hosting Toronto FC. Dave, what do you think's happening in this game?
So this one is an interesting battle between two teams that I think should be higher in the Eastern Conference table. I think both teams have the talent, and they just are, frankly, underperforming for where they should be this year. Toronto especially, right? I keep thinking they're going to put it together, and they got a 2-1 victory over FC Cincinnati, but they were not overly impressive in that game. I said it on our video last week. I expected them to get a multi-goal victory, and I would be concerned if they didn't. And more or less,
So are you concerned?
I'm concerned. I am concerned. Now, they do keep signing players and signing, they just signed, I believe, a TAM winger. And so they keep reinforcing, which I still don't understand with all the players they have, how they're still under the cap. But that's more or less to the side. With it being on the road, and the fact that I still don't have a ton of confidence in Toronto's defense. The Red Bulls at home, their high-pressure system, I'm going to give them the edge in this one. I mean, it's going to be a tight one. I think it ends up ultimately ending 2-1 in favor of the Red Bulls. Knittel expected goals, homemade expected goals model, 1.56 to 1.09 in favor of the Red Bulls here. So 2-1 to the Red Bulls. What do you expect?
I expect both teams to score as well, but I think this game ends up 1-1 in the end. I think Toronto do have the talent. Like you said, I'm not sold on their defense right now, but I think that they have the attacking pieces to really cause any team in the league problems on their day. With Michael Bradley, Altidore, Pozuelo, those types of players can change a game in the matter of moments. And you saw with Josie's goal last week, curling from 25 yards out. I mean, that's an incredible strike that not many players in the league are capable of. And Pozuelo has been able to come up with magical moments that not many people can do. So I agree that I don't understand how they're under the cap right now because they are loaded, specifically in the attack. But defensively, they will concede a goal just because of the way the Red Bulls press a back line. I don't think they're as composed on the ball, and I think the Red Bulls can get a quick counterattack if they are able to catch them in possession. So I'm expecting a 1-1 draw here.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I haven't checked the stats in recent weeks, but Red Bulls had the lowest passing accuracy, meaning they play a lot of long balls, a lot of risky passes, and that's just kind of their game. Next match, we are now the whistle's quiet. Yeah, of course it is. Next match we're talking about, we have the New England Revolution taking on LAFC at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what are you expecting to happen here?
So this is a very interesting game, and this might be my highlight game of the weekend.
It's crazy to think about.
Which a few weeks ago I would have been like, oh boy, here come LAFC coming to New England and just going to wreck them. Not anymore. New England might be the hottest team in MLS right now.
I think they are.
That's crazy to me to think that that's happening. But they have really shown themselves in a good light in the past few weeks with Bruce Arena there. He's absolutely a legend of the league in terms of coaching, and he's proven his credentials since he's come there. So I think New England Revolution are going to get a win, shockingly, against LAFC this week. And I think LAFC have the obvious potential to win this game, both defensively and in the attack. They are just set up to, I mean, it's the two probably best managers in the league right now, going head to head with Bob Bradley and Bruce Arena. I mean,
Matias Almeida is up there, I think.
Just based off of what they've done, they've both been international coaches for the U.S. as well. They have a lot of experience working with MLS. So I think this is going to be a very, very fun game. And I think 2-1 in the end is how the Revolution win this.
Wow. Okay. So I'm not going to be as bold as Christian here. I think that this is the game where the Revs kind of come crashing back to reality. They've had a fantastic run. That's not to take anything away from them what they've done since, I believe, May 8th. They are undefeated. I think that they've had a slightly favorable schedule over that time, and I think this is where they kind of come crashing down to earth. Having said that, I mean, it's LAFC. They're the best team in the league, historically one of the best teams ever in MLS. There's no shame in that. I know Matthew on the New England Revolution, I think you're the president of the fan club, is not going to like me predicting this. He's going to be in favor of what you're predicting here. He always shouts us out on Twitter, but I have LAFC getting a 3-1 win here.
Wow.
I just their attack is just way too talented, and I have them ultimately conceding a goal because I do like what the Revs are doing offensively.
You think even with the turf, they're going to be bringing all of their stars to get this game? Okay, I think that LAFC, I would not be surprised if they rest at least one of their star players this week.
We'll see. KXG has this one 1.49 to 1.54 in favor of LAFC. Not often is an away team favored in our homemade expected goals model, so that should tell you everything. Next match we're talking about, Orlando City is taking on FC Dallas at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what are you expecting to happen here?
I would like you to go first.
All right, thank you. Oh my God, that's so nice of you. Orlando just hosted the All-Star game and all of the festivities, and so I would expect
they won the skill game.
They did win the skill game. The All-Stars did not win their match, but I think that when you host an event like that, it may be able to rejuvenate the fan base and get some more people out, get them excited. And so I would expect them to have a significant home field advantage here in this one. I don't know what the weather's going to be like. You never know what it's going to be like in Florida and if humidity is going to play a role, but it is FC Dallas that they're taking on, so they're going to be used to that heat. It's a tough one to predict here, and I ultimately think this is going to end up 2-2. I think that FC Dallas has supremely talented attackers. They are somewhat solid in defense as well. And Orlando, for as good as they just are somewhat inconsistent. They seem to not be able to turn that corner and really put together wins. They're getting results here or there, but they're not really putting together back-to-back wins and things like that. And so ultimately, I think this one ends up 2-2. KXG, Knittel expected goals, has this one 1.54 to 1.05 in favor of Orlando City. So that's a pretty big difference that they are favoring. Did I read the right one?
You read the right one, but you said a wrong number. So that was
1.53 to 1.05.
Yeah, it's fine. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to go here and say FC Dallas, you were a little kind by saying they have supremely talented attackers. I think they're a solid team, but I wouldn't say that they're really lighting up the league in their quality. But Orlando, on the other hand,
that was a poor choice.
Don't really have it either. I think that they're equally as talented, if not more talented, in the attack with Nani and Dom Dwyer in their attack. But this is one of those unexpected games for me that I don't know what to predict. I think FC Dallas have not been great on the road, and Orlando have been very inconsistent both at home and on the road. So if they're on, which I said about Montreal last week, if they're on, they can win big. So I don't think they're going to win big. I think this game ends up being probably a 2-0 victory for Orlando.
Yeah, in fairness, if I recall correctly, Orlando has the same points per game at home and away. So they're consistent in that they play the same, but they're not getting a ton of victories. So there's that. Next match we are talking about, we have FC Cincinnati taking on the Vancouver Whitecaps at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what's going to happen here?
Oh, I would love to go first. So FC Cincinnati. Oh, boy. Guys. I know you guys had a little bump in form there. You were like, oh, hey, here we are, guys. We're ready to play. No. I mean, you're playing arguably the worst team the two teams might be the worst two teams in the league right now.
Yeah, with Columbus starting to put together some
Columbus
results,
at least are getting some results, but those three teams are clearly the weakest in the league right now, and these two might be the worst on form and just in talent overall at this point.
Yeah, I think Vancouver might be the worst.
They could be, but I think they're in a more difficult division, to be completely honest.
Fair enough.
FC Cincinnati at home, you got to expect them to win this game. I mean, you don't have to expect them to win any game, but with this specific Vancouver team, I can't see them going in and winning any game right now. So on the road, there's no shot. FC Cincinnati have been leaking goals like crazy. They're not really creating that many opportunities, but they have scored some goals recently. Vancouver, I'm sorry, guys. No, FC Cincinnati wins this game 3-1.
Yeah, this one's so tough for me because I could easily see this being a 0-0 with both teams just kind of playing terribly. But because they're both at the bottom, I could see them
just go all out.
Yeah, going all out. And this one ending up like a 4-2 victory for FC Cincinnati. And what the hell? Let's go with that.
4-2.
4-2 to FC Cincinnati. I think they break out of their duck. Both teams, get onto the score sheet. Nothing is supporting that from my analysis. Our homemade expected goals, Knittel expected goals model has this one 1.55 to 1.09 in favor of FC Cincinnati. So basically a 2-1 victory for FC Cincinnati or a 2-0 or so. But I just have the feeling that this is one where both teams are going to go for it. Coming off of All-Star break, they had time to just, have a...
Well, neither team had All-Star.
Well, exactly. But there's just like a natural break, and then to come out of that, I just feel like they're both going to come out swinging, and this one's going to be an entertaining game. I wouldn't be shocked if it ends up 0-0, though. But I'm predicting 4-2. Anything else?
No.
And we're quiet on the whistle again.
Yeah.
Next match we're talking about, we have the Colorado Rapids hosting the Montreal Impact at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so Colorado, they continue to score goals, and they continue to not really get results. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I don't remember what they did last weekend because I didn't have the chance to prepare because I flew overnight, and I'm still a little bit hazy from that one. But the Montreal Impact, they certainly won last week, and Colorado lost to San Jose. But again, they got on the score sheet. I still believe they've only been shut out once or twice this season. And so the fact that they're still able to score is an encouraging sign for them. Montreal, meanwhile, they were on a 4-game losing streak, and they broke out of that in a major way. That new signing, Lassie, I think is what he goes by, was fantastic for them against the Philadelphia Union. They won 4-0. I still don't know what to expect. I mean, Ignacio Piatti is back, and with him being back, he might be the difference maker, and that might spark them on and be able to make a run in the playoffs. Having said all of that, I still am going to give the slight edge to Colorado at home. I think this one ends up on the higher scoring side. I'm going to say this one ends up 3-2 in favor of Colorado. Kinidal expected goals is predicting this one 1.4 to 1.27 in favor of Colorado.
I mean, going into last week, Dave was pretty harsh on Montreal and said they're probably going to fall out of the playoffs. So, I mean, yeah, I know they are very
Nobody wants to win the East. I don't know what the hell is going on.
I know, but Montreal are going to be in the playoffs, and I don't think that they're going to make a far run in it. But after their win last week, who knows? Because they beat the Union 4-0 very easily. I think it showed more the Union missing Montero clearly is the big factor there. They've lost 2 games, but we'll get to Union later. Montreal, you got to give them credit. They won 4-0. They dominated the game, and that's just the way that it was. Colorado, we're on the road at San Jose. That's not a really shameful thing to lose to San Jose right now. They're playing really, really well. They got a goal, which they continue to do. I think they're going to win this game. I think it's going to be closer than you. Or actually, you had a 1-goal game. I don't think it's going to be as many goals. I think it's going to be a 2. I'm going 2-0 victory here. I don't think Montreal scores on the road today. Or not today, but that day.
Well, it'll be today when you're watching the video.
Right, true.
All right, next match we're talking about. We have the Houston Dynamo taking on the Chicago Fire in Houston at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what are you expecting to happen here?
Oh, boy. I think Houston at home definitely have the advantage here. The Fire just are one of those teams that when they're at home and they have everybody fit and firing, they can be difficult to play against.
Firing. I feel like you say fire every time you talk about the Fire.
Well, it's because it's just amazing.
Yep.
Because Scotty's on fire.
Yep.
The Dynamo, which if you explode it causes fire. They're going to be a better team. They have more talent in the attack, even though you can say the Fire do have talented attackers. They're not as talented as the striking force specifically.
Exactly.
For the Dynamo. So I think they're going to get goals. I'm not sold on the Fire's defense, specifically with Schweinsteiger at center back. I will never be sold on it. He's too slow.
But Jonathan Bornstein's there now. He's going to solve all their problems.
Oh, my God. That's the guy that me and my friend Ward, when we were growing up, every time we watched the U.S., we would yell, Bornstein, because he always makes mistakes. But he's not going to solve their problems. The Dynamo win this game. The Dynamo definitely win this game, and I think it's a 3-1 victory here.
That sounds like a pretty accurate scoreline. The Dynamo are much better at home than they are on the road. Chicago, meanwhile, I believe they still have no wins on the road. I think they're the worst road team in the league, which obviously if they haven't won on the road, would be the case. Yeah, I think that they're really starting to spiral. This season is going to be a lost cause, and I would expect them to continue their down run of form. They do have talented players. I want to predict this one 3-0, but like you said, I think they have enough in the attack to get a goal on the road, and Houston's attack is just so much better. And so ultimately, I think a 3-1 result sounds about right. Kinidal expected goals. So my homemade expected goals model is predicting this one 1.62 to 1.34 in favor of Houston. And so the 1.62 is a pretty high scoreline for Houston playing at home. And so again, expecting goals from this one. So I think 3-1 sounds about right. Anything else you want to add?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, we're quiet on the whistle yet again. Next match we are talking about, Real Salt Lake is hosting New York City FC at 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday, August 3rd. So RSL has been, I think relatively good. They're one of those teams that, again, has a little bit of inconsistency. They're hovering just within the Western Conference playoff line, and I think that's ultimately where they'll finish. New York City FC, meanwhile, in the Eastern Conference, they have so many games in hand, and they arguably could win the East. It's just nobody seems to want to win the East. I still probably like them the best. Atlanta is dealing with a lot of inner turmoil. Toronto can't get their act together. The Union can't get their act together. I don't think DC is going to make a run. The Red Bulls can't get their act together. And so I think ultimately New York City FC wins the East. I really like their attackers. Hebert has been fantastic. Mitrita and Morales have been amazing for them. Alexander Ring has been controlling the middle of the park. And all of those things are factoring into why I'm predicting a New York City FC 2-1 road victory here. In this one, Canadian expected goals has 1.15 for RSL to 1.12 for New York City FC. So incredibly tight in that one. Low scoring from my expected goals model in that one. So this could end up low scoring, but I'm saying 2-1 to New York City FC.
I definitely thought that was going to be the closest of your KXG predictions, but there's another one that's equally as small, and we'll get to that later. So
stay tuned.
Yeah, RSL versus New York City. This is really an interesting game. I think RSL have hovered around that playoff line because of their home form. And I think that is going to play a key aspect again in this game. They beat the Union 4-0, I think, the last time they were at home. I mean, the Union were very poor in that game, but Real Salt Lake are taking their chances and they control the game. I think that home atmosphere really makes a huge difference for this team.
Savarino has been really good.
Exactly. So I think that they are going to win this game. I don't think New York City, for as talented as they can be and how many games they have in hand, and they probably are in control of the East, I think Real Salt Lake do grab this win at a 2-1 victory.
All right, both have 2-1, but opposite teams winning that one. Next game and final game on Saturday, August 3rd, we have the San Jose Earthquakes taking on the Columbus Crew at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what are you expecting to happen here?
I am very much going with San Jose in this game. Okay. I think the Crew have rebounded a little bit in recent weeks, but this is a very tough game for them to go to. On the West Coast, going to San Jose, who are just flying right now, they have just really been incredible, specifically at home. They are grinding out results left and right. San Jose clearly wins this game. Columbus, I want to give them some plaudits just because they have gotten their act together a little bit.
They're undefeated in 3, right?
Yeah, but it's still just San Jose is a different animal altogether. And when they go there, San Jose will control the game. They will get chances, and they're going to put them away because that's just the form that they're in right now. San Jose wins this game. I'm going 3-0. In a dominant victory here.
Yeah, I can definitely see that happening. San Jose, with their interesting sort of man-marking system, they have a lot of possession. They get a lot of shots off. And Columbus, they have started to score goals after having the worst attack in the league. It's got to be tight between them and FC Cincinnati at this point. I'm not sure who is the worst, but they're still on the lower scoring sides in MLS. I think it is a shutout victory for San Jose. The Dogs are agreeing with both of us on that one, but I think this ultimately just ends up 2-0 in favor of San Jose. I really like what Almeida has done with that team. They are so talented with just from him. They don't have the most talented players, but what he's done with them, he's really elevated their game, and the Dogs just cannot get enough of that. Meanwhile, Columbus, you know, Jossie is getting onto the score sheet, and no Romario Williams got a goal in recent weeks. And again, they're getting on the scoreboard, but they are still giving up a bunch of goals. And so ultimately, I think San Jose wins this one 2-0. The Knittel expected goals model, my homemade expected goals model, has this one 1.52 to 1.22 in favor of San Jose. So they do have Columbus potentially getting a goal, but I think my model is predicated on shots on target or just getting shots off, and Columbus, though they get shots off, they don't end up converting a lot of those. And so that's why the model is probably giving them a little bit more on the attacking side of things. So 2-0. Anything else? No? Next match, getting to Sunday, August 4th, we have Minnesota United hosting the Portland Timbers at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Minnesota has been fantastic at Allianz Field. And Portland has been really red hot in MLS play. I can't remember what they did in their most recent game, but more or less they've been very good. Brian Fernandez has really kind of sparked them, along with coming back to, what the heck is there? It's not, what's the Providence Park?
Providence,
yeah, coming back to playing a lot of their home matches. Now this one is on the road. It's one of their final remaining road games here. And so I have this one actually being a really entertaining game. Two of these teams are really kind of fighting it out towards the top of the Western Conference, or, you know, Portland's lower, but I expect them to rise up. I think this is going to be a really interesting, intriguing battle. And I would give the Oh man, this is really tough. I want to give the edge to Minnesota. I'm going to do it. I'm going to say 2-1. Minnesota prevails in this one. My homemade expected goals model has this one 1.64 to 1.37 in favor of Minnesota United. So it is on the higher scoring side. So maybe I should have predicted 3-2, but I've already said 2-1. So I got to stick with it. Christian, what do you expect to happen?
At Minnesota, so hot right now. They are really, really good at home. And I think that they're going to take advantage again of that. Portland haven't really played many road games, and I don't expect them to play many for the rest of the season because
recently,
yeah.
I was like, they've played many road games
because they have returned home after the early season. They haven't played, so they're not used to traveling as much, and I think that that's going to play a factor here. I think the atmosphere. You don't think that plays a factor at all?
I don't think so.
Oh, it absolutely does.
Right.
You get used to playing teams every other week on the road because atmosphere is just an aspect of the game that you're not used to when that changes. So I think Minnesota have the clear advantage. I think that they, equally probably talent-wise. I don't
I would give the edge to Portland on the team.
Really? I don't know.
Valeri, Chara, Fernandez. I would give the edge to them.
But I think it's closer than a lot of people would think then. I mean, even if you say that. I think Minnesota have the talent to get the goals because they have been very good, and I'm going a 3-1 victory for Minnesota here.
With our weak whistle there. Next match, and second to the last match, our penultimate match that we're talking about. DC United is hosting the Philadelphia Union at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what do you expect to happen here?
Oh boy.
Oh boy is right. Yeah,
the Union have lost 4-0 in their last 2 away games, which is not ideal.
It's not what you want to see.
I feel like I have to go with a DC victory here, which is painful, but the Union just have not been good enough on the road, and it's embarrassing the way that they're showing themselves. To lose is one thing, but to get blown out the way that they are is just unacceptable from the Union, and they have to take a look at themselves and figure out what do we have to change on the road. And I think it is that they need more energy in the midfield, which is clearly lacking without Montero. So maybe they just need somebody different to put in there for now.
For me, so we're Union fans. And so for me, the frustrating thing is that with Jim Curtin, it seems like there isn't a lot of lineup rotation. And in recent years, the Union seem to run out of steam in the summer and then the rest of the season. And so I know that they're really into the science aspect and analyzing players and load management, and they're monitoring all that. And they swear that there isn't fatigue in the side, but I don't know, just it's not passing the eye test. So I'm with you. I'm concerned about that. If Montero is back, though, I think that they can do really well. We haven't really touched on DC in this one. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Luciano Acosta, but he just doesn't look right for them. Wayne Rooney, though, is still doing well, and Paul Arriola has been good for them. I'm trying to think of their other winger whose name is escaping me right now, but they have talent enough on that team. The Union haven't been good, but having said that, I do think that this is a rivalry match. These games between DC and Philly always seem to be really physical. They seem to be more of a rivalry.
Really low scoring, too, for the most part.
I'm actually going to predict it a 2-2, just really tight draw, and so a little bit more scoring than what you might expect. But I have it really being a hard-fought battle. And with Montero coming back for the Union, he's been training, and so I would expect him to be the difference maker here, and that's why the Union are able to get a 2-2 result. Our KXG is 1.39 to 1.36 to 1.39 in favor of the Philadelphia Union on the road, but it's incredibly tight, and that's why I think this ends up 2-2. You were going to say something?
Yeah, I never got to really speak. So 2-1, I guess I'll go with.
Huh?
You jumped in at like a minute and a half and it went up for that whole time.
Okay, that is my bad. What was your score?
2-1 for DC.
All right, my bad. The last match we are talking about here is the Seattle Sounders hosting Sporting Kansas City at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Since I talk so much, Christian, you want to take the lead on this one? Go.
No, I don't want to.
Okay, so Seattle, I believe that they are still undefeated at home. They are one of the best home teams in the league, along with LAFC. Sporting Kansas City, I can't get a read on them. They're similar to Toronto in that I think that they have more talent. I think that they've really struggled with injuries. And I kind of predicted this heading into the season, that this would be the year where they really started to drop off, and they were just aging out, and the drop off really happens quickly in soccer. Now, after the start that they had, I was thinking I was definitely wrong, but it turns out I was right the whole time. So Seattle, I just really like Rui Diaz at center forward. Jordan Morris is getting back onto the score sheet. Overall, I think that they're more talented than Sporting Kansas City, and I'm ultimately predicting Seattle to get a comfortable 3-1 win here. The homemade expected goals model KXG is 1.65 to 1.27 in favor of Seattle.
I don't know. I don't think Sporting Kansas City can score on the road here in Seattle right
That's
now.
fair.
I think Seattle are just too good of a team right now, and specifically at home, they look lights out. And I think that they're going to create chances, they're going to score goals, and this is going to be a very comfortable victory, as you said. But I don't think SKC are going to score, and I think it's going to be even more resounding. I think Seattle win this game 4-0. I just think that they have the attacking ability. I know Sporting Kansas City are probably, I don't even know. They've conceded a lot of goals in some of their games. So when they're off, they're very off.
Yeah.
So that is something that we've seen before. I think traveling just to the West Coast, it's a far trip, and Sporting Kansas City probably bring their top side just because it is a Western Conference rival. But it's not going to be enough in this game. I think Seattle are the more talented team overall, and they have the better attackers right now.
Yeah, and Sporting Kansas City, like you touched on, just making boneheaded plays. Like thinking back to the
Mhm.
FC Dallas game, the 2 goals that they conceded were just terrible mistakes defensively, and so it's not characteristic of Peter Vermees. So I don't know exactly what's going on there. Anything else you want to say?
Nope.
All right, so that has been the Quick Kick Picks. Make sure to check out our website, brostalkingsoccer.com, to get your t-shirts. Make sure to leave your predictions either below the YouTube video or over on Twitter at BT Soccer Pod. This has been Quick Kick Picks presented by Bros Talking Soccer. I'm Dave. That's Christian. Christian, final words?
Let's go get some matches played.
All right, see you, everybody. Actually need